Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Grandmaster Shaymin, and today we have another episode of Fatal 12. As this is a very long visual novel for only $16. I'm very impressed by just the amount of length that it goes through, and I'm sure I've probably missed some bad endings, but I really don't want to actually go through said bad endings, so we'll leave those for you guys to figure out if you intend to buy this. But we are hoping that we can go through and get the good ending, though I'm not really sure if we can or not yet. Either way, make sure if you're enjoying the series to click that like button down below for me, because you already know your support is greatly appreciated. And we're now back for another divine selection, where right now it looks like most likely Scale is going to be eliminated, but with Federico turning a little bit of a I don't want to say like a turn here, but Federico, his regret changed. He might be safe for at least one more, if not a little bit more, Divine Selection events. Good evening, my lovely little slaves of fate. I took a look around the court of fate. Only 5 participants remain. Number 1, myself. Number 2, Miharu. Number 3, Federico. Number 9, Scale. And number 12, Alan. It certainly has gotten rather lonely in here, hasn't it? And I bet it makes you feel all tingly inside. Goodness, how very rude! I'll have you know that the loss of people to converse with me has me quite upset. Hey, goddess. Another rude person, I see. What is it that you want? Spare me your dramatic nonsense. Is it true that whoever survives this will become your vessel? Oh? Alan fires a blunt question at her. He must have heard about it from Scale. I doubt Scale would have given that info away for free, though, so they must have exchanged information. Parka averts her eyes from Alan for a moment. Not just for fun, though. It looks like she wants to examine Miharu's expression. That answers my question. You may feel free to reveal your information to me, to someone, and have them eliminate you, should that not be to your liking. I just want to confirm the truth. The final participant will still be able to live on once it is all said and done, correct? That is correct. That's fine, then. Like hell, it's fine. Someone want to explain this to me. Parker takes a good look at all the participants following Federico's question. My eyes met hers. She's smiling. You seem to be the only one unaware, judging by their overall expressions. That being said, I do feel myself in the mood for a chat. Very well. Allow me to diverge the Hold up! Scale interrupts her. He's glaring into Parker's eyes. No doubt that I'm the cause behind him doing so. It's no concern to me, though, so I just listened to their exchange. Someone's going to get eliminated tonight, so would you just mind not talking after something about what happens after someone survives? Hearing about a future they'll never get to experience won't do them any favors. Point taken. Of course, I do find pleasure in desperation you're showing right now as well. Damn it, You won't let it up till the bitter end. I sneak a glimpse at Alan and notice he actually has the makings of a smile on his face. If there's anyone who my impression of has changed since Divine Selection began, it's him. In fact, I'd be willing to bet he's changed himself. There's no way the person from back then would save my gran. I agree. Dude's character development has been the most impressive of any character in this so far. Definitely, by far. One of the better examples of character development, to be honest. Even though we haven't got a lot from his perspective, the ones that we do have, the slow developments from not only him, but the actions that he's taken, has really shown what kind of person he has become. If there's anyone planning on electing me tonight, please reconsider. I'm begging you. I did what I did because I didn't want to die. Scale crumples down to his knees and smacks the platform he stands on. Not a single person addresses him, though. Instead, Parker's voice that rings out. Allow me to begin tonight's selection. The clock we've been accustomed to begins to move. Revolve, O clock of fate. The clock hand points at me. Parker's gaze follows. Will you be electing anyone tonight, number 1? Yeah, I elect number 9. Why? Your grandmother ended up just fine in the end. Did you do something to her? Dude, Miharu's gonna be so pissed. Grandmother? You fucking bitch. Damn it, I might as well do as much damage while I still can. He shoots back up to his feet and starts to scream. There's some English mixed in there, but I can't understand any of it. Even so, it's easy to tell he's just swearing at us. Fuck, shit, dude is funny. Do be quiet! Scale's screams become inaudible, as if in response to her command. You can see his mouth moving, but no sound escapes his lips. He eventually notices it as well and causes him to stop. I won't be electing anyone tonight. Same here. The dial turns to Scale. Sounds like we can hear him again. He locks his gaze onto Miharu before shouting again. I elect number 2. I'll break right through anything she tries to pull this time and eliminate her. How pitiful. He has no grounds on which to do that, correct? It is as you say, no elections may occur between people who have protected themselves from one another before. Ugh. Scale sits down following that, like he suddenly lost the will to live. I can't tell what he's thinking anymore. The dial continues its revolution, this time pointing at Alan. I am not electing anyone. He didn't find out Federico's regret in time. Okay. That's what I figured. Parker makes her way to the center of the room once we're all done. She signals to the next step in the standard ethereal tone. With that decided, number 1 and number 9, allow me to begin the election procedure. Okay. The platform beneath me begins to rise the moment I nod in assent. It makes its way up the spiral-like movement at a constant pace. Eventually, I reach an area I've become familiar with. I mean, you were only there once. This marks the second time I've been to the upper sanctum. I've come to bear the burden of my decision. Sitting across from me is, of course, Scale. Bet you hate my guts, huh? Not that I blame you when I took that old hag hostage. Might have even hurt her in the process. Electing me out of revenge is just an action, though I'm sorry to say, my actions were as well. There's nothing more important than the desire to live. That's why everything I did was necessary. I hate to disagree with you, but I don't hate to disagree with you. I actually really just disagree with you in general. Just remember, no matter what I did, I'm still human. A human you're going to kill. I'm aware of that. He continues to glare at me. Yo, Rinka's like... Can we get on with this? I know what he's doing. He's trying to get information out of me by having me sympathize with him. Funnily enough, I find his determination to do so almost admirable. I can't comment on whether his actions were just or not, but at the very least, there's not a single person who would deny his will to live. My gran already forgave you. That means I hold no resentment or hatred towards you. Putting on a bold face, are we? Feel free to think what you want. I pause for a moment before I continue. You told me about your life. Now you stand here, still determined to live. I won't forget any of that. It won't stop me from eliminating you, though. That's why you have every right to curse me. And by doing so, you'll give me the opportunity to know the real you. Is that so? In that case, rescind your election right now. I'm afraid that's not possible. Even if she were to agree, one cannot renege on their election at this stage. I totally said that wrong, by the way. Parka butts in on our conversation. Much like the last time, she seems to have appeared sometime after the two of us completed our ascent. Sorry, but I don't plan on doing that in the first place. I make my intention clear to her. I find myself surprisingly calm in this situation. Let me ask something then. What would happen if I stayed here forever? Just as you know, I'm very much opposed to the idea of dying. The passage of time here completely differs from that of your reality. But the remaining here for too long could cause a great deal of interference in the fate originally in store for you. To that effect, you may become unable to return to the real world. Does that mean I would just stay here forever, then? That'd be the same as not dying, right? No one has ever tried before, I'm afraid. It's hard to say what would happen. That's enough. Interrupting the two of them, I open my card book. The cards in my possession float out in response. Must you be so rash? Fine. Please select your cards. I won't tell you to man up. In fact, clinging on to that hope as much as possible might be the best way to go about it. Truth of the matter is that we'll probably never see eye to eye. I doubt you want someone like me to understand you and your desire to live either. I pick out the first card containing his information. His name is Scale Jones. Damn right. I don't I don't want some brat like you thinking they can understand me. There are lots of things that frighten me, you know. That's why I love gathering information. Almost as much as I love photography. The more you know, the less there is to fear. On the other hand, no one knows what death truly entails. It's not hard to imagine why it's the most terrifying thing when you follow that logic, isn't it? He died in an accident. I choose another card. Oh, right, I should probably mention that half of what I told you about my life was a lie. The whole thing was about a friend who killed himself over his dad's scandal was a phony. As for the paparazzi, I only went for that because there's more money and freedom there. Hate to disappoint you, but I'm more interested in a comfy lifestyle than I'm adhering to some sense of duty. Granted, you won't care after I reveal that, will you? You'll just see it as me trying my best to live. It's funny, you say you won't understand me, but here's the thing. His regret involves a gold medal. I read the final time's contents, making sure to keep my eyes locked on him after a while. I'll never understand you either. All three cards float away from me once I'm done. When they reach the middle of the Court of Fate, they converge and form a triangular shape, which causes light to spill out from them. You're the weird one, Shishimai Rinka. I can't see Scale's face anymore thanks to the light. Now we get to see his death. The scenery switches to a highway with more than 3 lanes going either direction. I'm inside a car that is easily going over 60 miles per hour, chasing down a fancy car in the front of it. Inside the car were a man and woman, both barely visible. The number of other paparazzi had been chasing them, but they eventually gave up. Scale was the only one remaining now. He'd have his hands on this massive scoop if he persevered here. And then he lost control of the car along a sharp turn, throwing him into the opposite lane and in front of an oncoming truck. The impact of the crash obliterated the car. A photograph he had with him in the car entered his line of sight as life faded back. A photo of his best friend from college, a friend who faced false allegations of drug abuse, the fallout of which caused him to commit suicide. He was the same age as Scale and a candidate for the track and field events at the Olympics. The car and its driver may have been crippled beyond saving, but the camera hanging from the latter's neck was somehow intact. That was the same blood splatter scene as when Odette died. I had to calm myself down once I was done seeing the moment Scale died. It really is too much to be shown another person's death. Even so, it's someone else's death. I'll never forget Scale, but that won't stop me from following the path I've chosen for myself. That's why I can cope. How did you find his death? I'm not about to give my opinion on that. My response is short and to the point. She's taking pleasure in our struggles against one another. Even worse, she's making no attempt to hide it. She reads out Scale's cards to me with indifference after that. My answer must not have been to her liking. Do decide on which card to obtain by the time you reach the lower sanctum. My platform begins to move after I receive her instructions, slowly making its descent. That's how my second election ends. Interesting. I lock eyes with Miharu upon my return to the lower area. She takes a moment before nodding. She must have realized where I was going with this. I'll take number 2's regret. Miharu's regret. Miharu likely expected it the moment she knew I was going to eliminate him. This is necessary for us to elect and protect ourselves from one another. More importantly, her willingness to let me have it is proof of her trust in me. I have to admit, its contents are a bit surprising. Written on it is none other than my own name. Surprised as I am by this, it makes sense now considering her confession. She really cares about me this much. Miharu is blushing next to me as she makes an effort to seem inconspicuous. It's kind of weird because, like, it's kind of flattering, but at the same time, you're like, you committed suicide. And on top of that, this is your regret. Like, we were both supposed to die. It's gotta feel, like, kind of sad, almost, in a way. That she loved you so much, but she never actually did anything in her life to tell you, to make you understand. I mean, you're oblivious, but she had to have known that. She spent all of her time with you, you know? I just... It's gotta be a little depressing. To reach in and it does make sense considering the confession, but now you've got to understand, like, I like how Miharu's blushing, like, oh, now she knows that I love you that much, that when I died that I was thinking just about you. I wonder if that's romantic, sad, weird. I'm just kind of confused on how I should feel about this. Tonight's session resulted in one unlimited... Hold up. Heavens, I prefer not to be interrupted during my oft rehearsed lines. Who cares? More importantly, you said you would explain the whole vassal thing once the election crap was done. What else do you want me to say exactly? Well, I get the last remaining participant becomes a vessel for you. I also get that becoming a vessel doesn't get in the way with that person's survival in the end. Much as it creeps me out, I'm fine as long as we get to live. I want to ask about what comes after that, though. After that, you say? Does whoever becomes your vessel get to access your powers, too? Having been told the full story by Miharu already, I know this isn't the case. She mentioned being able to talk with Parka in her dreams, but nothing about being able to use her powers. Parka just uses your body as a place to stay. You don't become some kind of divine being or anything. If anything, it's basically the same thing as making a folder on a computer named Parka and encrypting it. I mean, is there any merit to becoming your vassal? You earn the privilege of conversing with me in your dreams. Ain't no one interested in talking to a runt like you. Hell, that's a major downside. Damn it, I'll have trouble sleeping at night knowing you're going to turn up. Oh? You had best remember that this runt is the goddess of fate. I have the ability to reshape fate itself. Excuse me. Federico isn't the only one taken aback. Miharu seems somewhat surprised herself. Same goes for me. Of course, I have my own will. Fate can only be changed on the whims of the goddess. There's little I love more than being entertained. As such, I may be willing to change fate should my vessel keep me as such. You're rather impetuous for a goddess. Yet a goddess all the same. I advise you to keep your tongue in check while speaking to a being who exists in a place your tiny brain cannot begin to fathom. The fate of you people is nothing but a hobby of mine. Ah, I take it back then. I'll make sure to keep you happy if I become your vassal. Oh, I'd much rather you be eliminated. You're probably reek of alcohol. Oh, come on. Get fucked, dude. Wait, encoding overloaded. Hey, calm down, buddy. Both of them end up laughing as they make fun of each other after that. I guess he's hardly normal if he's made it this far. She has the ability to change fate while inside me. Does that mean she did so at some point? Miharu lets her thoughts slip out. She catches herself and checks to make sure Alan and Federico didn't hear her. I can't bring it up now, but she might know something we don't in regards to Parker's intervention with fate. Of course, only one of you here can become a vessel for me. If you have time to ask questions, I advise you focus on your own survival instead. As for now, I bid you farewell. May we meet again next week. We've somehow ended up with even more questions this late in. That being said, I can tell we're about to enter the final stretch. 9th week down. Oh, it's not done though. Allow me to congratulate you on a job well done. Oh wait, you had a manly kind of British accent, kind of. You've brought another person's fate to a close tonight. It seems you have placed a heavy burden on your heart, even if you yourself are unaware. Well, you know that you're not alone anymore. That has to be your greatest strength, in my opinion. I figure I'll wake up in the real world, but it seems fate isn't quite done with me for the night. Instead, I'm face to face with a man who's grown accustomed to appearing in my dreams. As usual, I can't move or say anything in response. I can only vaguely process what he's telling me. The card you've gotten your hands on serves as a key to unlocking part of the memories sealed away in your psyche. As such, allow me to do the honors. Consider it a gift for your actions thus far. Oh, a new memory! It's a scene from my childhood. At the time, I was playing at a nearby park. I say park, but it was a rather famous tourist spot. I went there often as a kid due to my gran being so busy with the store to entertain me. This had to have been before I started elementary school. I was there, I met a girl around the same age as me. Yo! Child Rinka is so cute! Oh my goodness! Look at Child Rinka! I just want to pat her head. Oh my goodness. Dude, she's so adorable. Oh my goodness. What's wrong? Oh my goodness, it's little Miharu. I love her so much. Look at how cute they are. Oh my goodness, I love their design so much. The bow is so adorable. And of course, even now, Miharu's in like some sort of school uniform. Oh my goodness, they're so cute. She didn't answer my question. It was rare to find other kids there my age, so I probably wanted to play with her. So I kept talking to her, and she kept ignoring me. I eventually gave up and just sat down next to her. She was staring into the distance, seemingly at nothing. So this is how they met. Oh my gosh. They were so young. When I noticed that, I decided to follow her gaze without another word. Once it was time for the park to close, we both left. I told her to see her next time before we parted ways, but she remained silent. The day after that, she was there again, in the same spot, staring off into the distance. I sat beside her without a word. Thinking back, I'm amazed I was able to do that. It must have been that I wanted to mimic her or something. I spent the day sitting with her until the park closed. I told her I'd see her next time before we parted. She spent the day after that doing the exact same thing, as did I. As usual, I told her to see her next time before we parted, but things changed the day after that. I'm going somewhere far away tomorrow. I remember thinking it was weird that she sounded so boyish despite being a girl. Sorry, my voice sucks, okay? God damn it. I probably should have had a stronger reaction when the girl who had been silent for 3 days finally talked to me, but I guess that's just how kids were. Far away? Yeah, my dad crashed his car and killed people. Now we need to move because people know he did it. Holy shit. I don't want to move. I didn't really understand what she meant at the time. That's why I was able to answer her right away. Don't worry, you can just come back if you get lonely. I'll probably be here forever. What's your name? I'm Rinka. Shishimai Rinka. And you? I'm Miharu. Cool. I didn't care about her family name, not like I was old enough to understand the nuance between given and family names. I just made sure to answer people when they asked by reciting what my gran told me to say. We talked and played a lot on that day. Will you say goodbye tomorrow? Or today? She sounded worried when she asked. As usual, for the young me, I didn't think about it for very long, so my answer was simple. Nah, see you next time. The day after that, I never met her there. At that park, where the ever-so-familiar clock tower had just been built. I guess that, much like how the park has now become our final destination, it also served as our beginning. How could I forget something that important? It doesn't feel like I've had a nightmare when I joke awake. I normally wake up in a cold sweat whenever that man appears in my dreams. Meow. Looks like Leaf pawed the covers off me at some point. That explains why I feel so cold. Actually, it's got nothing to do with the temperature. It's got more to do with the fact that I remember the man appearing in my dreams. I'm not sure why, but I'd completely forgotten about him until now. That's right, he appeared a number of times before. Some theories claim the brain organizes one's memories while they sleep, which results in our dreams. It may be possible to dream about past events when you've forgotten based on that theory, but the dreams I have feel more like I'm literally reliving those events. Dreams. Parker said that the dream world represents the wealth of possibilities. In that case, they might not be memories, but the representation of a world that could be. Who in the world is that man? Meow. Yeah, probably pointless to rely on Leith for an answer. Who knows, maybe that world of dreams of the past as well. Then again, I can't say whether or not even cats can even dream in the first place. I can't believe I forgot something that important. I really am horrible. I wonder if Miharu remembers those days. Probably. Then again, it's Miharu we're talking about. She definitely does. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She probably noticed that I'd forgotten and decided not to bring it up. Those events feel heavier than her confession somehow. In fact, it might even be possible that she liked me ever since those days. Maybe I'm thinking too highly of myself, but it would explain why she hates saying goodbye. I didn't even make the connection until now. It's been a while since the whole thing, because I think it was mentioned, what, that one time that she didn't like saying goodbyes? I still need to give her an answer. I feel my cheeks heat up as I recall her confession. It's almost been a week. I wonder if there's a time limit or something on people receiving end of the on the receiving end of the confession. It'd help if someone told me. I put it off for just a bit longer. If she asks about it, I'll apologize and explain. Alan and Federico are still at large, but I don't want to consider her until things settle down with them. Why not? Just accept. Ugh. Morning, Rennie. Coming to school every Monday has been something of a cathartic experience for me lately. It's proof that I'm able to live and see another week. Miharu was already there by the time I arrived, so we spent some time chatting until class starts. Once lunch rolls around, I make my way to the rooftop as usual. Meanwhile, Mel stays in class so she can finish up the homework that needs to be handed during 5th period. Homework given to us last Tuesday, might I add. I finished it the day we got it, so I get to chill and enjoy my lunch. Considering she said she's bad at her studies, I mean, it's surprising. After some small talk, I decided to bring up an important topic. Hey, Miharu. About what happened at the Court of Fate last night. I'm referring to the discussion between Federico and Parka about whether or not her vessel can access to her powers. Well, it turns out that isn't the case. Parka did say she retains the ability to alter fate, even from within her vessel. That statement seemed to take Miharu by surprise. You already know my regret, so I'm fine telling you. Parka likely knows my feelings for you as well. My surprise was from realizing she may have had a hand in us meeting again here at Emeka. Ah. Wait. Apparently Miharu wanted to see me. Okay, so Miharu moved away, and then she'd been wanting to see Rinka. It kind of makes sense. Your child, she's probably been alone. Her dad killed some people. She doesn't get along with her mother. Rinka was the only one who was there consistently for 4 days in a row. And they seem to have some sort of initial connection. And so it makes sense that Miharu wanted to see her again. And so I guess that brought her to Emeka? Potentially. Apparently Miharu wanted to see me ever since that day. That never came about due to her family circumstances, though. They moved to a countryside not long after our meeting. And they did it because her dad caused an accident in which a child lost their life. Not only did the family get ostracized by locals, but they faced harassment as well. They refused to let Miharu attend a nearby elementary school with things like that. Once they moved to the countryside, they started using her mother's maiden name instead of her father's. The accident left her father mentally impaired and unable to hold a standard job. It eventually led him to committing suicide when she was in 6th grade. Man, does it run in the family? My father couldn't bear to live with what he's done. Some say he was irresponsible, but I disagree. Of course, it turns out that I inherited his weakness. I can understand that, to be honest. A child died, and you've got to live with that for your entire life. Not to mention, he kind of had his brain mashed up in the accident, so he wasn't thinking properly on top of that. That and knowing that you killed a child, it's just... You ain't Alan. Alan would have been fine, dude. He would have been like, oh, it was an accident, it's all good. Alan wouldn't do that now, I suppose, but he would at the beginning. I still hold a grudge on him for that one. But the line, I inherited his weakness, just, it kills me a little bit. Suicide was Miharu's cause of death as well. I know this, but I never asked why. It might be the best that I never know in truth. Miharu continues her story. Her father's suicide incited rumors of the accident he caused to spread. The results were even more fierce in such a small rural area. It led to her entire family having to move once again. Having returned to Tokyo, Miharu chose to enter a mecha because it offered scholarships to middle school students and it carried an appeal for those wishing to attend college. She only knew my name at the time, so the chances of our meeting again were slim, especially when you consider that I wasn't part of any clubs or particularly well known. Even so, Miharu's wish to find me again never faltered. She figured she would have the best chance by going to a school in Tokyo. Just as I was ready to give up, we reunited in high school. You were somehow more cute and charming than I remembered. I mean, that's probably just adolescence and puberty talking to you, but at first I considered it was nothing short of a miracle, but if Parker altered fate knowing how I felt about you, why would she bother? So she could enjoy watching us struggle against one another, knowing full well that we both become participants. Oh, let's not forget about how high the standards are for our mecha compared to your midterm grades. There's no way you would have gotten accepted without a fairly big push from fate itself. Ouch! Damn, you just bitch slapped Rinka. Jeez. I figured she was joking at first as a way to lighten the mood, but judging by her reaction to my comment, she's serious. Ouch, my pride. Guess I can't blame her. She's been aware of my middling grades since my acceptance, but still, being told I'm an idiot to my face sucks. Fuck. Sorry, now isn't the appropriate time to discuss this. No, it's fine. You worry too much. I can do pretty well on exams if I actually put in effort. That's exactly what I did to get in here, so I'm not about to chalk it up to Parker's influence alone. Let's say she did have her hand in our reunion, though. The time we've spent together since then is still ours. I'm confident in that claim. There's no denying that fate can be, as has been, altered through divine selection. The results may not be perfect, but it's clear that there's a power we can't comprehend at play. Still, that doesn't make the time we've spent together meaningless. You know, it's funny that I never realized that she had gloves on until that episode a while back. Because I don't know why, I've just been thinking of it ever since that episode ended. I'm like, wait a second, she totally had gloves on the entire time. Why did I just feel like I noticed that right then? I don't know why I'm thinking of this now, but something about the way that she's moving her hands with her very, very cute gloves that I really want to get a pair of. Ah, you're right. I must be worrying over nothing. After saying that, she offers a pleasant smile. Her hair dances with a gentle breeze. Incidentally, remember to study for finals. It might be hard for you, all things considered, but know that you have your whole life ahead of you after this is over with. Same to you, Miharu. My stance won't change. The bell rings soon after. It goes to show how long we've been talking. We clean up and hurry and make our way to class. She never asked about my answer to her confession, despite us being alone. I feel bad about that. She just doesn't want to be that person, you know what I'm saying? Mishimiya Miharu watches Rinka from behind as they make their way back to the classroom. She's under the impression that Rinka has forgot about their meeting since they were children. Her attitude makes it apparent that she remembers those events. But Miharu understands that either her confession or regret card triggers Rinka's memory. She doesn't mind that if Rinka forgot, considering how long ago it was. In fact, it would have been a bigger issue if she did remember, based on her attitude towards Miharu. Miharu is willing to forgive Rinka no matter what she does, though. More importantly, Miharu didn't recognize Rinka at first. It was Miharu's first year at a mecha. She often found herself, oh my gosh, the music makes me so sad, alone due to the lack of friends beside Mao. Her superb grades and looks caused others to avoid her for reasons only they understood. One day, soon after starting high school, she was on the rooftop by herself and Mao had business elsewhere. The scars on her wrists were already oh, see, this is the first time we've seen her without gloves, right? I think. Probably. I think. The scars on her wrists were already present. I gotta know why though. Was it because of Rinka? Was it because of her parents? What was the driving force behind that? Because I mean, I know myself that it's really hard to deal with shit like that. There's a lot of stuff that's just very hard to deal with, especially when you're in adolescence, you know, and your emotions are going crazy, your hormones are out of whack, it's hard to think not only rationally, but it also is but it also might be that you are thinking rationally. That's what makes it all the more worrying is when you're in such a situation that you feel so bad to the point that you do things like this, eventually, of course, leading to her death. I don't know. It's hard for me because if you know me, you know my thoughts on afterlife being complete garbage. Um, so for me, I firmly believe that there's nothing that happens after death. Don't freak out in the comment section, okay? This is just what I think. Just logically, it seems to make the most sense. So for me, it kind of makes sense, you know. I feel like the fact that your suffering ends it might not be that bad of a thing. It's difficult to understand about the pain though. You know. Anyway, not important. It's sad. It's making me overreact. However, due to being alone, she had forgotten to keep them out of sight. Didn't that hurt? The school year had just begun, so she didn't know the name of that girl. At first, they thought they might be from the middle school due to their height, but the uniform ran counter to her assumption. Miharu made no attempt to answer the thoughtless question. She was panicking over the possibility of her wrist being seen. So, wait, Rinka has to remember this. It was freaking a year ago, right? So that's what Miharu was saying. Was you probably already know why, because when they met, pardon, at the beginning of the high school, she noticed the scars on her wrists, doubly so due to rumors that had begun to spread. Well, whatever, not my business. I'm glad the rooftop's open to us, though. I was hoping to enjoy the breeze. After they say that, they sit down right next to Miharu. Miharu swears to herself that she won't speak to them. She gazes towards the horizon instead. As deja vu. They never did try to say anything else to her, though. Miharu eventually caved and braved a glance at the girl. They were gazing into the distance as well. Something sparked within Miharu the moment she looked over. She knew she was right, and yet she couldn't bring herself to speak. Oh, there's the bell. Saying that, the girl stood up to leave. Much to Miharu's surprise, she found herself far too nervous to give any kind of response. Well, till next time. The innocuous event was all it took to set Miharu free. It only took her till the afternoon to learn that the girl's name was Shishimai Rinka, and by the end of the day, they and Mao had become close enough to have lunch and go home together. It's deja vu. They were sitting on the bench. Rinka has yet to give her answer. Miharu is still able to smile whenever she looks at her despite that, however. I head back home as soon as class is over. Miharu left in a hurry due to work, while Naomi has lots of other things to do. Mao's normally the one to ask if she wants to head home together, so I left without her. I hear the sound of someone racing up behind me on the way, though. Rennie! I guess Mao has decided to chase after me. What's up? You still haven't given Miharu an answer, have you? Nope. Well, that's very you of you. Shows that you're giving it a lot of thought. I'm sure you have plenty else on your mind too, including unrelated stuff. It's not that you don't want to give her an answer, right? It's just that you have other things to clear up first. Mao's really a good friend, you know. Mao's friends with both of them, but she has history with Miharu, and she really wants to see Miharu at least get some sort of closure over this whole thing. Right, so in that case, I'll do you a solid and tell her that it'll take you a bit longer. Mao. Times like this makes me wonder if she really isn't involved in divine selection at all. I, I wonder how deep down she isn't, though. I know deep down she isn't, though. While she can seem dense at first blush, Mao can pick up the most subtle cues. In fact, she may know more about us and change in our behavior than we do. No worries, just leave it to Mao. Make sure you're set on an answer, though, even if it takes a while to find. Remember, nothing will change no matter how you respond. Well, I guess it would if you... Wait, we've had this conversation already. If you accept, I'll become the third wheel. Oh yeah, might as well mention that Naorin's probably caught on by now, too. Really? As real as real can be. Not that it matters, though. See you tomorrow. Mao dashes off in front of me after saying her piece. There's no one who shows their consideration quite like Mao, although that was a huge relief for me. She made it clear that I have time to think and answer when I'm good and ready. My priority isn't how our relationship will be developing moving forward. It's figuring out how to make sure we both survive. I mean, it's also figuring out your own feelings. I mean, no matter whether things change or not, you gotta decide for yourself whether or not you actually love her. I change into some clothes. I don't mind getting dirty when I get home. My gran asked me to do something for her, so today I'm keeping the store closed so I can finally get around to it. Cleaning her room, I mean. She planned on coming home this week for a bit, but that got cancelled due to scale. When she had another chance, it was anyone's guess, so she asked me to clean her room for her. I actually got scolded for not having cleaned it already, but that's only because I thought it would be better not to mess with her stuff. I started cleaning it regularly after today. That's something I need to do in here, though. Or there's something I need to do in here, though. Alright, well, that's about it for this episode. As in the next episode, we'll see what Miharu is going on about. And that's all about the time we have for this episode. So make sure you click that thumbs up button down below for me, because you already know your support is greatly appreciated. Leave a comment in the comment section down below and subscribe for future content. Let's go. We'll see you next time.